this is informational only, and I want to be very clear that I personally dislike each and every item on this list as much as anyone in this room. The hard fact is that we may, circle the word may, please, we may have to close a serious gap in our FY 2024 budget, depending on what the Board of Supervisors does and depending on what Richmond does. And just as a point of information for the community, just a reminder, this board does not have taxing authority. So saying fund the, yes, we wish they would, who do it, fund the schools. We have asked respectfully, thoughtfully, and comprehensively. And we shall see. With the situation that's in front of us, we may find ourselves compelled to consider increasing the employee portion of the health insurance cost, using funds from the healthcare reserve to help pay down cost, defer the purchase of middle school science and English curricula. We may need to the listing here is, as a matter of shorthand, indicated as eliminate school libraries. Really what that does is free up positions that are licensed as teachers and licensed as paras that could be doing meeting obligations for us in classrooms. There is also the potential, and again, look, none of my team likes any of these cuts. It's just reality. The governor's school may have to be reconsidered. The International Baccalaureate program may have to be reconsidered. The one-time retention initiative may have to be reconsidered. DOS implementation may have to be deferred. We don't want it to be. We may need to consider changes to our employee health insurance plan offerings to trim cost. I don't want to, but these may be needs. We may need to eliminate the stipend increase that was proposed for coaching and for other extra activities, and we may need to take out the increase in the school board's operational budget, which is very small. So those are, that is not a comprehensive list. That is what we have so far. That is not a recommendation. It is simply a statement of things that we may face if we don't get the support that we need from our county and from Richmond. The staff compensation is going up, not mine, everyone else's. The cost of utilities and transportation going up significantly, up. So if you've got those significant rises, if you just take the whole gap, if we end up with the whole gap, and please, Lord, let us not end up with the whole gap, but if we end up with the whole gap from the state and the county, then that gap is more than 5% of the whole budget of this division. So if you've got the budget of the division and you want to pull salaries up, what were they saying, 7 to 9%, depending on individual cases, with the cost of benefits, and you're pulling up the cost of transportation and fuel and energy by, I don't remember how many percent it was, Mr. Shrestha, and at the same time you have to overcome a greater than 5% decrease in the budget overall, most of which is people. Okay? That is simply the magnitude of the puzzle. Now, I said very plainly at the beginning of this presentation, these are not decisions, these are not recommendations, these are... May I have the floor, please?
Right, okay.
These are merely observations, and they are, many of them are items that are not required. Some of them are items that are required, but they're required under state requirements that don't have the same weight of enforcement as we are apprehending from the SOQ mandates and the federal mandates for special education. We have a very, very difficult and challenging way forward to find with staffing and with resourcing improvement in our special education compliance. And this is a history. Look, this wasn't of instant creation this year. The last numbers that I'm aware of on the state website, 2019 shows our special education compliance at 41%. That was the same year as a division. You know, I don't know what we were doing, okay? But the challenge is that we have to find a way forward that improves our special education compliance. And we may be doing it in a context where our staffing cost is going up very significantly, or needs to go up very significantly. Our energy and operations cost is going up significantly. And our revenues are going, maybe going down significantly. So we're being pulled in opposite directions by very significant forces. And so to get to Dr. Daniels' curiosity about what were our objectives, what were our aims, number one was where can we find money to cover the gap in such a way as to maintain as much as possible resources going to meeting the biggest of our compliance issues. And the biggest of those is special education. Now, as we appreciate the academic enhancements and other supplemental programs, but they are beyond mandates. So, again, this is an introduction by way of observations to hard choices that may have to be made. And frankly, this was a sad and difficult day for our team when we sat down together in the conference room that's behind that wall as a group and talked through it. And we realized that we weren't coming to recommendations. We were beginning what needs to be a conversation, of course, with public input, not the end of a conversation, but the beginning. And we also realized that we needed to be very clear about the severity and the depth of our potential situation. The advertised 10-cent real estate tax increase that the Board of Supervisors has put forward is the most substantial increase of its sort that I can recall. And I've been in Spotsylvania since 1996. Now, will the Board of Supervisors approve that entire increase? You know, they moved the rate down recently, a few years ago, in response to a reassessment increase. They have had a habit of wanting to minimize the tax rate and have had a habit of wanting to minimize appropriation to this division. And as county administrator for 4 years, I was part of that habit. Well, I am here. I have worked with this team as carefully as I am able, and I understand very clearly now, and much more clearly than I've ever been given to understand in the past, the needs of this division.